When things couldn't be any lower, shoot for the stars. When you can't keep your planes in the air, go to space. I could keep going, but you get the idea. Yeah, we're talking about the Boeing Starliner incident. I know I'm late to the party, but the astronauts are still in space, so technically I'm right on time. Right on Boeing time, that is. Boeing, one of those great American companies, or shall I say, once great American companies, which seems to be an increasing trend over the past few years. A bunch of once great companies that have fallen off a cliff, and none more so than Boeing. So just to give you a little context for the situation, in early June, astronauts Barry Wilmore and Sunita Williams blasted off to the ISS. It was supposed to last about 8 days, and it's going to take about 8 months. A bunch of issues cropped up during the test flight, including helium leaks and flaky behavior from the thrusters, and they just could not figure it out. NASA and Boeing tried to figure it out, and they said, hey man, I know it's not rocket science. Well, actually, it is rocket science, and they couldn't figure it out. So they've decided to turn the keys over to SpaceX. These astronauts will be in space until February 2025, when a spaceship from SpaceX will be taking them back to Earth. And there's got to be nothing more humiliating than that. I mean, I know Boeing seems to have a little bit of a cuckoldry fetish thing going on here, but this is taking it to a new extreme, guys. I mean, you're talking about watching another company that you compete with, and I'm putting some major quotation marks around compete with. You're competing with this company, and now they have to save your astronauts? I don't know, man. Something just tells me you should get out of the space race. Maybe you'll have more success on the ground. Maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't say the ground, since you seem to have a lot of planes that end up on the ground without you wanting them to be there. And just to kind of go over a little bit of history of the program, this has not been something that happened out of the blue, because they were dealing with issues for a long time. In 2019, the Starliner's first uncrewed flight didn't even make it to the station. And then the second one in 2022 was deemed a success, but then later they found out that they had used adhesive tape that was flammable. When your Starship catches on fire as it re-enters Earth, they used flammable tape on the ship. And that delayed them for a long time. And I also want to give a little bit of context to this kind of space race, if you will, the new age one, where billionaires are battling it out. And for about a decade now, Boeing and SpaceX have both had contracts with NASA, which kind of established funding for them to get crews to the ISS. And Boeing has received significantly more money than SpaceX, significantly. But they have yet to complete a round trip. And meanwhile, SpaceX has done a number of crewed missions. I mean, a lot, comparatively speaking, in the space industry, that is. And I just have to say, honestly, one man to another, one incredibly intelligent person to an incredibly intelligent executive team at Boeing, as I'm sure they are. Why? You guys can't even keep a plane in the air. How could you possibly think that you could figure out rocket science if you can't even figure out aeroscience? That's probably not a word. But they're clearly not figuring it out either way. But ultimately, it seems like the most important thing that I probably should have mentioned from the start is that the astronauts are safe for now. They are in good hands. They seem to be in high spirits. Of course, to the media, they would seem like that. But it seems like they're like, hey, we get a free 8-month vacation in space. They'll grow a little bit taller. Maybe they'll grow a little bit more, But yeah, that's about all I wanted to talk about today. Ultimately, another huge L for Boeing. Nothing new there, but it's just always funny to see. Thank you, everybody.
Really just a flawless and beautiful descent of Starliner today. Starliner has returned safely. Well done to the entire team for completing the mission with a successful undocking, deorbit, and landing. Starliner has once again proven herself a safe ride to and from space.